objects move into the distance, they also sometimes get darker. This leads us to our next option for tweening, which is tweening color. We can tween the color of sprites. Just as before, we select the last keyframe of our animation. I'm going to scroll to the right and get to the bottom. Alright, we're at the last frame of our ball animation, where our ball is on the right side. Okay. Now I'm going to make this a darker shade. How do I do that? Well, I've selected my keyframe. Remember the foreground and background color chips here? Well, if I change this color to say a gray, there we go. Now I press rewind and play. Watch our animation go here. And between this keyframe and the last one, it gets progressively darker. I could, so there we have, we're tweening our color. Let's scroll back a little bit here. Take a look at that again, just from that point. Press play. There's the keyframe. It's getting slightly darker to the final keyframe. Okay. Now notice it tweened between our previous keyframe and our last keyframe. Okay. It's not tweening the whole length of our sprite. It's just tweening between this keyframe and the last keyframe. If we wanted to tween slightly differently, we could select the middle keyframe here, change the color to maybe this shade of gray, move back to the beginning here, and now, or to this part of our animation, and now it will go from white to the slightly darker shade between here and here. And now, as it gets to the end, it will go from this shade to this shade. So we have three separate shades. It starts off white as it's above the net. Okay. Select the middle sprite. Middle sprite is a slightly off-white. We get to the end, and it's a fairly dark gray. If we rewind and play, we can see this. Notice it getting slightly darker and darker still. Okay, so we've shown you how to tween color.